My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live, a strange old total from the men in green deciding to bat first, afternoon game. But hey, now that you start seeing, if you're an expert and you read the surfaces well, unlike being just a fan of fours and sixes like me, you'd know that it's probably the region of the total that you should be at. 145 for 6 and 20. That too, they lost a few wickets. It was that partnership between Virat Kohli and Abraham Benjamin de Villiers that actually gave them something to stand up and talk about. Yeah, 186 is what I had suggested at the start, but that was really the batting fan in me, the afternoon game fan in me, the ABD Virat fan in me talking instead of trying to analyze the game. Lisa Sthalekar, Shaun Pollock with me. Shaun, we didn't quite even get to your score, and I think you'd be disappointed with that because what you suggested should have been around par.
Well, I'm going to say I was going to go 147, but because you guys went so high, I went 157. And that's a pity. But no, it was always going to be a challenge. And a different sort of innings and different sort of partnership from the two superstars than what we've come accustomed to. But I think it could be just as vitally important. I think that's a really good competitive score. We saw that if they can't get balls away, that it's going to be difficult for the men, particularly in the second innings, 82 of 68. And very few boundaries, but they didn't look ruffled. I think they had a good understanding of what was required. The intensity, as we talked about at the start of the show, was very good. The running between the wickets, there was very few dot balls as well. So I think it's a good constructive partnership for them. They would have loved a few little lusty blows at the back end, not to be, but very competitive total.
Yeah, Lisa, the momentum is something we talk about towards the end. You wouldn't mind finishing with even your number 7 or 8 coming out with a couple of sixes at the end. But in isolation, do you think they'll still tell themselves maybe 15 short?
It's hard to say, isn't it? We're starting to see that the scores are getting lower and lower. So I do think the fact that Bangalore won the toss and batted first, going probably against the trend that we've seen of late, just says that they're reading the conditions well. I guess we'll find out after 20 overs if that's correct. But probably they missed a little bit of runs at the top in the power play. Aaron Finch seems to have this love affair of dancing down the wickets. And I'm just not sure it's quite the right thing to do on a slower pitch. I'd love to see him hang back a little bit more and play off the back foot and wait till the ball's done its cutting or slowing down. So that would be my only criticism. But you can see that it's getting really hard, isn't it, as the game progresses in that middle overs, the 11 to 15. Very hard to find boundaries.
Even if you take 7 to 15, Shaun, 16 dot balls, just the 4 boundaries in that phase. And remember, you're talking about 2 of the stalwarts being in at that time. You knew the conditions. So you'd probably say maybe they will look to find the odd extra boundary despite everything.
Yeah, I suppose that's the challenge, and you've got to trust the 2 in the middle with all the experience that they've got, because what you can sometimes do is try and tinker on about trying to create those boundary options and trying to go after them and lose out on the singles and eventually actually throw your wicket away. So that you have to trust that they've analysed it well. I think the big thing now for the RCB is they've got that score on the board. They have to adjust their bowling plans. They have to have a good understanding. Kohli's batted out there for a long time. He'll be convincing them of what's a difficult delivery to deal with. And if we look at Siraj, Sani and Morris, I mean, they had a beautiful surface to bowl in the last game. They cleaned him up and the ball was pinging through. But it's going to be how quickly you can adjust to the new surface, how quickly you can go to your different skills of maybe cutting across it and giving them nothing. I think that's going to be vitally important.
That's the skills of those quicker bowlers, but he's now got at his disposal, along with Washington Sundar and Yuzvendra Chahal, he's got Moeen Ali. So those 12 overs, and when he uses them, Lisa, might also be the key to defending this.
Absolutely. The fact that Sundar has looked so good in the power play, he's really put the pressure on his opposition in what we're starting to see as the crucial part of the match. If you can get ahead of the run rate, ensure that you get off to a fly, you can set a wonderful platform. So you can allow for the middle overs potentially to have a few more dots in it. So using his spin bowlers will be crucial for Bangalore's chances to come away with another win.
Yeah, Lisa's point is so valid too. I mean, up front, I think those first 6 overs is going to be so important. And there's relatively inexperienced players there now for CSK, that the two changes at the top of the order, can they decide to go hard against the likes of Morris, and can they get ahead of the rate? I think Faf is going to be vitally important. But as you can see, the other two younger guys, it's going to be a challenge for them to be able to do that. And then once those 6 overs are done, how do you adjust to get into really good mode of knocking around the signals and not taking too many risks against the quality spinners?
Is this a case, Lisa? I know they've thrown him in at different times. Is this kind of total and this kind of surface a perfect time to say, yeah, I know we use you for everything, Sam Curran, go and do the job again?
It's tough. I mean, everything that's coming out of the Chennai dugout is all about giving other players an opportunity, and they've seen Sam Curran and they know what he can do. So Gaikwad, maybe they want to see a little bit more from him. There were criticisms about him batting in the middle order, even though he bats at the top for his state. So they've given him that opportunity. Then he doesn't get runs, and then they're going, "Why are you stopping Sam Curran from doing so?" I'm sure they're probably thinking, "Oh, we can't win either way." But if they're going to see other players, they need to stick with that. I certainly think Sam Curran shouldn't be batting at number 7. He certainly needs to come a lot higher than that if he's not opening.
Now, Shaun, the real problem for Chennai this season, remember they started the event with a successful chase, and they had that one ridiculous chase by 10 wickets. But other than that, their real problem has come at the 10-over mark, where they've allowed the required rate to climb to 12s, 13s and 14s. Now, this is a rare situation where they're chasing a small total. So even if they were to go Chennai-like in the first 10, you're not going to see the required rate get to 14 and over. So will this be a difference?
Yeah, I don't think they should allow it to get that far ahead, and I would expect a big approach in those first 6. But I think it's also a surface that they're almost accustomed to. It's where they played their best kind of cricket, slow, stopping. They tend to manipulate the spinners around. Raidu comes into his own. Jadeja, Dhoni, they're all very accomplished at playing the spin at those times when it is just stopping a little bit. So in many ways, I think they're better suited to playing this. But the way the tournament's gone, you sort of get into that habit of putting pressure on yourselves as a batting unit and not being able to get over the line. It is something they're going to have to deal with. But I would expect a better call from them this time around.
Yeah, let's have a look at the Chennai spinners and what they did in their innings. Plenty of options with Mitchell Santner coming in and made a difference immediately. Under 6 and over, 7 dot balls, picked up that 1 wicket. Curran, of course, picked up the 3 towards the end because they were going for it. But really, despite only 1 wicket in the 11 overs, you could see it was a strangling job that they did.
Yeah, it was all about pace off, wasn't it? Varying your pace slightly, bowling into the pitch as well, not tossing it up and inviting the batters to really come at you hard. A couple of times when they did that, Virat danced down the wicket and played a beautiful shot for 6. So they kind of learnt their lessons straight away. And you would imagine that the Bangalore bowlers would be taking all that inside in and knowing what length to bowl on this pitch.
Yeah, I mean, who do you see as the key spinner, Shaun, between all of them? We've got, Moeen Ali's coming in as the off spinner. Chahal's been brilliant, the wicket taker. How do you see his approach particularly?
Yeah, I think Chahal's always the pick for me. The way he controls those midden overs, it'll be all down to how they do. Washington Sundar, as you mentioned earlier, done brilliantly in that power play. And as soon as the left-handers come into the crease, then Moeen Ali obviously will have a big part to play. So I think it's all down to how they get used. But for me, it's always Chahal. It doesn't matter who, whether it's left-hander or right-hander. He showed his abilities and skills and international standard. So I wouldn't be surprised if he thrives in these conditions again today.
Yeah, certainly. And I wonder if he's going to be throwing it up and wanting the opposing batsman to dance down the pitch. Because remember, his fiancée is a bit of a show person as such. He does a lot of dancing. So he gets used to seeing that. I wonder if he'll want the opposition batsman to dance down against him, Lisa.
I was a little bit worried where you were going with that, Gautam. So
Me too.
You just have to look her up. You have to look her up online. She's quite a character.
I will. Okay. But one thing that he does very well is he fires in stump to stump, and then his slower, wider delivery is the one that he tantalizes the batsman. So it's all about when he delivers that delivery, when he senses the batters are kind of chomping at the bit to get going. It's about when he uses it, and that's how effective he is, because he's such a smart bowler.
I don't think he needs to complicate things at all today. I think that surface is offering him enough. So if he keeps it nice and firing, forget about the dancing and lobbing it up. I'm thinking fire it in, be accurate, and you can do the dancing later.
Yeah, and don't look up at the stands, because Dhanashree is going to be sitting there keeping an eye on him and trying to distract him. But focus is going to be the key for Yuzvendra Chahal. Well, dancing's not my area of expertise. Neither is predicting scores at the end of 20 overs. So instead, I'm going to throw it out to both of you and then maybe follow suit after that, because we've got to recover that My 11 Circle badge of honor with a power play prediction for Chennai, which is going to be interesting. I think it'll set the tone for the game. So our prediction also is very key, Shaun.
It is. Lisa, come on, you go first again. And don't say 80 this time, please.
Okay, I'm going to go 35.
Ooh.
No. It's got to be more than that. They've got to go hard, so it's got to be 47. It's got to be 47.
They're going to lose wickets. They're going to lose wickets.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Shaun's going to be right. I know this, and I'm going to hate this.
I wonder if I should dare to go even lower. Should I? I mean, I could easily slot in with a 40, which is where it's a predictable place to be. But I'm going to be adventurous and go for a 29. I'm going to be adventurous and go for a 29. Wickets up front, agree with Lisa, but just find a ridiculous way to try and win that badge of honor. Since I
think the CSK fans have just turned you two off.
Yeah, well, I've had that happen in the past. I know. It's just a prediction. It's just a prediction. We still love you. We still love you. It happened to me with Bangladesh fans during the World Cup last year. I mean, I spent a lot of time in Bangladesh, and one of those days we had a prediction, and I said they were batting first, I think, and I said 240, and they ended up making 300, and I got so much stick from all of them back then. And it was against South Africa. It was against South Africa.
Yeah, well, I got stick as well.
So anyway, it's all predictions. It's all fun. It's all between us. And I'm going to lose again, but never mind. That's the way it goes. But we'll see you all in the 10th over and see how Chennai are doing. It should be an interesting run chase, because it looks like it's not enough, but it could be enough. It's that kind of total. Thank you, Shaun. Thank you, Lisa. Join us for Combox in the 10th over, and we'll see you at the end. My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.